not sure what this is. This is no. Okay, I know what all that is. No. No. Okay, there we go. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna write that there, and then we'll write. Let's see. I need to pull up the default bindings. Get bindings. There it is. And what we do now, the way the build system works these days, is you just write your own. You just write your own get bindings function, and then you set your build super to point at that. So to make that work, I'm going to open build.bat and see what is it pointing at right now. Build all. Okay, good. Build all.bat. What are you pointing at? Yeah, so what I want to do is I want to change you to point at 4coder experiments for a little while. And then I just need to get some basic stuff up and running here in 4coder experiments first. Let me take a look here. 4coder default bindings. There we go. Now, what I'd like to do is I'd like to say that there's right here, if in def no binding. And where are my hooks? I want to take all my hooks. Take all my hooks. If in def no binding. Actually, yeah, we put those there. So if not defined, no binding, that's fine. Boom. And I'm doing all this just so I can keep all of my existing stuff the way it is. I'll keep actually a little less than that. I don't want to take the hooks because I can't overbind them. There we go. And then we'll make like void default keys bind helper context. Default. That's very weird. I fixed tab complete, but it looks like there's an autocomplete bug. Default is working at one point, but I don't like that. Better. Oh, my mic wasn't down. My bad. I do that crap a lot. Sorry, guys. Tell me if that's better. I'll also check to see if the wrong mic is actually being used. Interesting. Awesome. Okay. My bad. Alright, so the other problem here... Oh no, not the other problem, exactly. Oops. I want to deal with that alt tab complete bug. I kind of suspect I know what's causing it. So let me just see if I can track it down real quick. My plan is to release some bug fixes sometime in the next few days, so that's not the whole story. So I did fix that. Are there any other table operations that I am not thinking of here? Okay, so let me kill this real quick and see if I can track down the bug. Oh, did I misspell it? Okay, because there was an auto completion bug at one point, and I thought I fixed it, but that just there made it seem like I didn't. But if you're saying that I spelled it wrong, then that would explain what I was seeing. Default. Yeah, that should be default. Default. I'm still spelling it wrong? Okay, neither of those is working, so default bindings, default, def, tab, yeah. Okay, so there is a bug. Which is not good. Does anything else work? Set scroll doesn't work. Result works. That is weird. Well, and bind helper. That doesn't work. Okay, so let me first just finish this up. Context. Experiments. Okay, so I want to include 4coder default bindings.cbp default, and I want to define no binding, and then I want default. Okay, so default keys worked there. And I want to use the same hooks as before for now. Experiments. Okay, so let's debug this auto-completion thing. I thought it was working. But apparently it's not working. So, first of all, running it won't do me any good. Debug it. There we go. Now, let's say I do exactly what I was doing before. I go to this file here, and I type in something like new thing in file, and then I go new tab. Okay, that worked. Okay, what if I do this? New thing in, okay, that worked. What if I type default keys works. Keep trying until it breaks. Keep trying until it breaks. Newest New thing. Okay, looks like it totally works now. Did I change anything? Say I go to a different file. Maybe is that the bug that I'm thinking of here? Experiments. Okay, yeah, I can't find anything now. Hmm. Okay, so there's no bug. Just going to ignore it then, because I don't, until I can reproduce it. Next time it happens, we're going to stop and see if we can reproduce it. Yeah, tab completion doesn't know anything about scope. It's just lexical. It just looks at caret words. Lexical is the wrong word. It's just alphanumeric matching. It's not even lexical. Actually, a token-based completer would be really nice. Okay. Oh, you know, maybe it has something to do with starting with a space. Okay. Okay. Let's try that real quick. So, code default bindings, get bindings. Alright, so say I'm hanging out here and I go default keys. Okay, so that one was an old one. New function name. New function name. New function name. Yeah, still not working. I don't know. Maybe I didn't rebuild. You know, I bet I didn't rebuild mine. I packaged and tested the packaged version, but maybe I didn't rebuild the version on my computer when I fixed that bug. That might actually be it. Well, let's see one other thing. If I do this... Oh, yeah, this is an old version when I run 4coder. Okay, let me update my own version real quick. I don't think my version of 4coder is the new one. It's not the newest new one anyway. Yeah, bad fly dog. I forgot the last word of that sentence somehow. It's supposed to be new minimal theme editor. Right, there was an old theme editor which was like crazy town and awesome, but it was kind of hard to maintain and I wasn't really interested in keeping it up. So I switched to a new minimal theme editor. There's no new theme. I will fix the wording in the patch that I'm working on. Okay, so let me update my version of 4coder real quick. There we go. Now I have the new 4coder too. So, since Bad Fly Dog brought it up, let's go track down that little nonsense there. Editor. There we go. Alright, so now, let's get back to what I wanted to work on today. Default bindings and experiments. Okay. So, if I come over here, get bindings. Okay, so I want to do kill rect first. And I think we're all set. So we're building experiments here. So far we haven't added anything new to experiments. What I want to do, context map ID file. Can I begin a map twice and insert more stuff into it? I can't remember if I can do that. Let's try it. If not, I kind of want to add that. Context map ID file. End map context map ID file. I basically want to be able to extend a map by beginning and ending it again somewhere else and having that be an extension. Maybe what I want is like a parameter here that's like extend map. Bad fly dog, it's not gonna, kill rect won't work so well with non-monospace fonts, so to test it we'll use monospace fonts. Anyway, I might add that idea there that I was just looking at, let's see if this works by default like that. I want to do bind using this context. The key, let's see, what should kill rect be? I'm not sure what things are already taken. Modifier with the Alt key. S. Control S, Shift T. For some like testing nonsense I did at some point. That can actually go. Alt, 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 Alt. Okay, so yeah, I use Alt I all the time actually. Yes, I use Alt N and Alt T a lot. Miblo, eventually I will. I'm just experimenting right now to figure out how it looks, but this is the first thing that does rectangle selection. But eventually I think what will happen is I'll have more things that want to do rectangle selection and we'll pull that out. Keep in mind that most things like this will be on the customization layer, which means they don't really need to be supported in the core. Instead, they just need to be something that we have a systematic way of reusing for other things. But yeah, eventually we'll have general selection stuff as well. One thing 4coder doesn't have a lot of yet is like flexible ways of like changing how the cursor works and how highlighting works. But we'll get there. That's something I'm going to be working on in the upcoming versions, as well as the GUI customization stuff. I'm going to work on better sort of flexibility in the buffer customizations. So yeah, Alt K is available, so we'll use that. And that will be kill rect. And for now what I'll do is, just to see if the binding itself works, since I don't even know if that works, we're going to do app, I forget what it's called, message, print message kill rect. Okay, so yeah, let's give this a run. Yeah, I'm not convinced that that worked, the binding, which is not great news. But that's okay. What we can do is, for now, I'm going to put it on my to-do list to make that more flexible, and then I'm going to change it how this works real quick. Okay, so in the meantime, if I come up here to map ID file, okay, where is just the enum at the top there? Okay, my code map. This is a little annoying. Mike, thank you. Thank you, chat. So here's what we'll do. This is kind of nasty, but whatever. Call this the extension bindings. Bind helper context. Extension bindings. Extension bindings. We'll call that the extension. Default it to 0, and then what we'll do is right here. Where is my file ID? Or file map ID file. There it is. So after all the standard stuff is done, we'll say extension. Here's the context, and then that more stuff can happen, but only if extension does not equal 0. Okay. So then what I gotta do is, instead of all this, extension. Void experiment extension bind helper context binding Yep, okay. So now in here I can just bind all of my experimental stuff. Bind. Overloaded function takes two. Right, so if I go back to experiments, I'd like to bind alt K. There we go. Okay. So now we can actually bind that. So yeah, so let's just look at how we want to do kill rect. So the main thing we need is, right now I'm going to do rectangle selection using mark and cursor. Now I know that's probably not the way you'd think you'd always want to do rectangle selection. You might want a fancier way, but that's just what I'm going to do for now. So basically what I want is, I'll leave you at the top, I want like buffer rect x0 y0 x1 y1. Actually this should be like line 0 line 1 and char 0 char 1, right? And then what I'll have is you can go buffer rect equals, and we'll have a helper that's like well, first of all I need a buffer summary, right? Get active buffer like so, and then the buffer doesn't have the mark, does it? So I need a view summary first, and then I can get the buffer summary from there. Okay, and then 20 I assume is down here. Alright, so now I'm going to pop over here to helpers, 4coder helper, and down here there's going to be range, yeah, so buffer rect, and then we're going to do get rect. There we go. Here's our rect, return rect, and then what we want is I need to see the full cursor, so that's in custom.h full cursor. That is in buffer types. Full cursor. There it is. Alright, so basically what we're going to have is so it's a tough call. I think the way I'll do this is we'll do char 0, line 0, char 1, line 1, and we'll get those from the marks. So that's the views mark dot character and line, and then the cursor dot character or cursor dot character cursor dot line, right? And then what we'll do is say, look, if line 0 is greater than line 1, then swap, I don't know if I have swap. What I want to do is swap U and U, and U and U. Else, if these two are equal, and character or char 1 is less than char 0, then we still need to swap those. Okay. Actually, no. There we go. We don't care about which points are which. We want the char 0 to always be smaller than the char 1, I think. And we want the line 0 to always be smaller than the line 1. Now, do I have swap in the helper? No. So what I'll do is if in def swap, and if define swap AB do auto T equals A equals B equals T, while 0. And yes, I think that's good. 15 of not this file, experiments, line 15. Yes, so we want here, what we want to do is we want to get rect, and there we go. And now it's worried because we're not using the view or the buffer. Alright, so, so now what we want to do is for L line maybe rect dot line 1, line is greater than or equal to rect dot line 0 minus minus line. App buffer replace range. I can't remember the exact thing. Replace range. There you are. I want to replace the range from using app, using this buffer with start, end, and 0, 0. Now what I need is, I need to find out what start and end are. Okay. So to do that, refresh, read range, replace range, seek string, seek view, set cursor. Yeah, so this is where I never return a full cursor. I have a way of seeking set cursor via a buffer seek, but I don't have a way of just getting the position without changing the cursor, which is not fabulous. So let me add that to my to-do list. Okay. So, we'll just move the cursor for now, and it'll, like, end up in the wrong spot and whatever, but that's whatever. To do that, I guess I'll start by setting them both to 0, and then, app, view, set cursor, app, here's the view. Now I need to set up the seek line char. Yes, I want this. I'm not sure what comes first. I'm going to assume line comes first, and then rect char 0. Okay. Yes, and to seek that line. Connor Rent asks how tall I am. I don't know. I haven't measured in a while. Somewhere around 5'10", I think. 5'10", maybe 5'10 and a half, maybe 5'9 and a half. I'm not sure. Yeah, height should totally be a bot thing. You can just put in a height and it like looks at the channel, and then based on the channel it looks up in a database what's the height of the streamer on this particular Twitch channel and answers the question. That'd be that like height and I don't know, favorite food should just both be like put into a database like that. I can't convert to real units. I've been brainwashed by American units. I can't convert. Do not set the preferred X. And then what we can do is we can refresh the view. And then start is equal to the view's cursor position, right? And then we can do the same thing here to char1. That gives me the end. Yeah. There you go. Killed asks what my favorite food is. That's a good question. Oh man. I mean, if we're talking about like what favorite food do I eat the most, I'd eat chocolate chip cookies perpetually. Um, I try not to go a day in my life without eating at least one chocolate chip cookie. Um, and I usually do pretty well. Um, but, you know, if we were talking about like other types of things, there might be other things that I really enjoy eating that I just don't eat all the time that I might enjoy more than chocolate chip cookies. But, you know, it's hard to say, is that your favorite if you don't eat it every day? Okay, let's see if that's building. It is. Awesome. Let's see if we can kill any rects. Let's go see if we can kill a rect here. Dun, dun, dun. Basic CPP. Alright, so I basically want, okay, here's what I have to do. First I need to set the font to something monospaced. And then I need to pick a good looking spot to kill rect on. So this, I'm looking at it, I'm like, ugh, why did I put token on all these? That's overkill. Alt K. Ah, yes! Awesome, awesome. Maybe I'll test it a few more times. Don't need all these case CPP token blah blah blah. I'm just gonna put all of that into a macro. Yeah, there we go again. So yeah, that's it. We got kill rect for monospace fonts now. So how about we take a moment and think if there's any other cool experiments that I could do. I know I want to fix something. I also want to see if I can make word complete just in here. I know that's something I want to try. I think I can do that. Complete word. Gotta see if I can find something that's available. So let me go over to default real quick. Alt C opens the color picker. Alt O opens in other. MX ZZ MM. All kinds of stuff use Alt now. What I should do is sort these by alphabetical. Sort these alphabetically so that I can tell which ones are used and which ones aren't in the future. Space A Looks like B is open. C. D. E. F. G. H. H. I. J. K. L. M. N. O. P. I skipped a K here. K. L. M. N. O. P. Q. R. S. T. U. V. W. X. Y. And Z. Question mark. Tilde. Tilde. Whatever. There's a 1 there. Okay, so that's pretty useful. So for my experimental word complete, I'll use control. Actually, I know what I want to use. It's not available, but I never like this thing that's bound to it right now. So where is my minus? Did I really take it out already? What about Alt T? Control equals. I did, I took it out. Okay. So if I do like bind context plus mdiff control, that'll go right here. Not here. This will go over here. Complete word. There we go. And we don't need to print this message anymore, but we do want to print this one. Complete word. I'm not sure that that'll actually match anything. Okay, so that's up and running, and we can still kill rect, you know, without monospace fonts. It'll be kind of interesting. There you go. I concur with Popcorn. Who's that? I have a comment that I look like somebody, but I don't know who I look like. American Psycho. So I look like a psycho. Okay. Oh well. That's too bad. Yeah. Can't do anything about that right now. Okay, now to complete Word, what we're going to do is first I want to get like the start and end position. We'll do that like this, and we'll do view summary view app get active view app buffer summary buffer app get buffer app view buffer ID. Connor Rentz asks, when are you going to make style changes stick around from each session? Like the font stay the same from each time you run 4ed? That's a really good point. I'm going to do that today in the custom layer because that's a good idea. Connor Rentz, until like 2 days ago, I didn't know what Factorio was, and so you don't need to feel too bad about that. I was not on the same plane as everyone else until very recently. Okay, so yeah, so what we want to start with is we want to do end. Oops, I'm typing into hex chat here. There we go. End equals view cursor position, and then I want to. Then what I want to do is, I guess I'll set the mark. It's hard to say. I guess I don't need to set a. Okay, so this is just a cursor seek thing. This works a little better in the API already. Seek string, seek delimiter, refresh buffer, read range. How do I do? I forget how I do this. It's not one of these kinds. It must be one of the command ID things still. It needs to get upgraded to a proper. My hope is to eliminate as many command IDs as possible as 4coder lives on. A lot of them will be possible once I expose the GUI. A lot more of them will be possible once I expose timeline scrub still exist. I feel like that shouldn't exist. Yeah, we'll see about that. Seek left, seek right. That's what I'm looking for. Now I can't remember all the parameters that seek left and seek right have. So let me look at default bindings, and that's why they need more more explicit whoa, I don't have it anywhere. Default bindings. Is it default include that has this? Seek left. White space, right, left, right, right. So I'm making seek white space right, speak white space left, blah blah blah, and I'm doing that by taking basic seek, which takes in app, which seek type to do, and then I push on a flags parameter, which is, okay, so just some flags, so boundary right. So I use these boundary flags to do it. Okay, cool. So what I want here is something like start equals, well, it's going to be the view cursor position again, but I have to first refresh the view. And before that, I have to call this command ID thing. Par flags, I want boundary alphanumeric. What's cool is this means you could make your word complete have different rules for, like, if you don't like it going from the cursor to the beginning of the word, you could make it go from the end of the word to the beginning of the word, or like within camel case and stuff like that. Whatever weird word complete you think you need, you can go ahead and just do that if you absolutely need to. So push parameter exec command app, and then the seek type would be command ID seek left. Alright, so I'll seek to the left looking for an alphanumeric boundary. And thank goodness Fucom pushed me to add that to the API. And then we can refresh the view struct, get the cursor position again, and then I want to, yes, then what I need to do is store complete space. I'll grab, like, we'll say that 256 is the limit. So if size equals start minus end, if size is less than 255, or better yet, less than size of complete space minus 1, then I need a complete string, which is the string I get from that space there, and then now I think I need a read range. App buffer read range on the app. So here's my buffer. Here's the start, the end, and the complete space. And then we will do complete space dot size equals size. Actually, complete string that won't work. Okay. So we'll do this way then. Complete string str size equals 0, and we'll terminate it just in case. And now what I'll do is, so we know the word we're trying to complete, and yeah, this ends up becoming a pretty complicated one. You have to list all the buffers, make some ranges you want to search across those buffers, and grab out the words from those buffers that match. And I could do it, but the problem is going to be that we need a hash table for keeping track of previous matches and stuff, which I don't have exposed in the custom layer right now. Plus, the other problem is going to be, do I want to... It won't be able to do other things, so I feel like this won't work until I have the hash table exposed into custom, which I might do later, and a better system for sort of aborting out of commands that are halfway done, so that we can do things like this and paste next in a more correct way. That's got less like nasty state mode stuff going on. So I'm gonna say complete this when the heavy duty coroutine stuff and the hash table are available. And for now, we'll just say app print message app complete string. We'll just rename that to string, I think. No, I can't do that. But complete string str complete string size. Yeah, so apparently that was still existing here and there. Time for it to go away completely. Fored CPP 2652 timeline scrub There we go. Okay, let's work on using the customization layer to store user info about the theme that they've selected. So to do that, we'll go over here to just close this. I'm looking for experiment again. And let's see. So basically, for this to work, what we'll need to do is we'll need a new start hook. Hook sig experimental start hook 1 minute. And that will call my start first of all. Default bindings. What does my start even do actually? That's fine. So call my start, and I forget what a hook sig has to be called with. Just the app pointer. Okay. And then what we'll do is we'll say
Let's for now just say we're going to use something like that. We'll need a path to the forward executable, which may not be available. Well, that's fine. We'll just say always open it in with this path as the hot path for now. I think at one point you had to do that for TTF files, so people know kind of how to do that. And we'll add. Let me add this to the do list.
Okay. Dot 4coder settings. Read binary. Close file. And then what we'll do is, oh for goodness sakes, I think that needs a new tape. This is just not sticking anymore. Normally I just read the whole file, but let's see. Freed. But for this, it's just a little experiment. I might as well just hack it up. Nope, not fread, fscan. Actually, there we go.
Mike, thank you, Miblo. Alright, so anyways, like I was saying, we're gonna just hack this up a little bit. We're gonna read out a... how do I read out... this will read subsequent characters until the white space is found. White space characters are considered to be blank, new line, and tab. Alright. Well, hold on a minute. What are the default bindings.cpp? Yeah, so some of these have spaces in them, so we'll have to deal with that. But basically, we'll say something like there. Theme name. Font name. Now, does that also output the size, or is it null terminated? String of characters. This will read the subsequent characters until a white space is found. White space characters are considered. Okay. Yeah, so I believe it's null terminating those. So then what we'll do is we'll say white, well, I have a thing in my string stuff, replace char. Theme name, replace spaces with, or replace, we'll call them blanks with spaces. Replace char theme font name. Replace blanks with spaces. Then if I pop over here, we need replace char star string blah 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 blah. Replace char. Equals I. String. What we can do is just for string plus string, if string equals replace, string equals width. Yeah, that seems good. So now we can pull these things out of a file and then default bindings. Don't know why it does that. That's a little weird. Like scrolling when it opens. It's like it's using the previous file's position to start, but it goes to the correct position from the other file or something. I have to figure. It's either one or the other way around, but it shouldn't be doing that. It should just start in the right spot. Maybe it's starting from 0 every time. That could be it too. I'll look into it for the patch. Okay, so file close. Yes, and then what I want to do is app change theme, app theme name, string length theme name, app change font. What I'd like to do is say do all this only if the file existed. Font name, string length, font name. Okay, and then the other thing we need is, since we don't have we don't have hooks or anything for when the theme gets updated, and the user's not in control of the GUI that does that yet, so we'll just have save theme settings. Control Alt Shift S. Yes. Maybe just Shift S. Or Alt Shift S. There we go. Alt Shift S. That seems fine. Save theme settings. We'll basically do more stuff kind of like what this did. Although, you know what? I'll bet you there's no way to query what the current theme settings are, is there? Yeah, so actually all this does is let you write your own settings file very easily. We don't have a way to do this yet. Query theme settings and expose. Well, no, that'll be enough. So that's about as good as we can do on that right now too. Alright, so let's try using this thing here. First of all, does it build? It might not. Right, so you can go away, and you are asking for standard io.h 106 theme name. Don't care. Let's return a value. Return 0. Okay. So now if I run, nothing should be different. Okay. But what if now I go over to my data folder here, and new file doesn't work right now because there's a bug, but suppose that it did work. I could type dot 4coder settings, right? Yeah, so what we need to do is fix that, but in the meantime what I'll do is we'll pop that open and go over to it, create a new file that way, dot 4coder settings. Okay, so I'm a little confused by this. It won't let me take the name off of the file. Um, hmm, what is this folder here? I don't even know. But that doesn't make sense because if I look at, for instance, the code, the .git doesn't have .git ignorer, are all instances of things that don't have names. So what the deal is, people? Do I need to like run Explorer as an administrator or something? Oh goodness sakes. Okay. So someone on chat saying we can do it from the command line. I set it to hidden. Awesome. Okay, so that's a bit weird. But anyway, now we have this file. I can go and open it because, hey, the empty file bug doesn't exist anymore. And so I want to say from now on, please open STB and use liberation mono as the default, right? So now I've written my 4coder settings file. Allow me to run it again. Well, that didn't do anything. Let's debug it and see why. Not running the correct start hook would be an issue. That would be an issue. Now, here's a question. Why do I have this open twice? Whose idea was that? Now what? Okay, let's try something else. No, okay. So that doesn't make any sense at all. Scan F. How does the width press? This specifies the maximum number of characters to be read in the current reading operation. Oh, I see. So the star doesn't work the same way. So what I want is just 127 without the star. No? Okay, so that didn't help. Okay, so there's no space. Really, you assert when that happens. That seems like, well, a really dumb thing, but okay. We'll say new line there. And by the way, data.4coder settings is in Nick style. Okay, just making sure. Guess I got what I asked for when I said I'd hack it with scanf. Oh my goodness, come on. What's going on now? Oh, I see. I see what's going on. Jeez. There we go. That makes a little more sense. So, there's that. Okay, so that's back to happening. So now, I'm guessing that the reason it's not finding the settings file is because we're running from data/test, and so I'll put it back to data real quick. There we go. So if you have a .4coder settings file in the directory where you launch, it will use that settings file to set the theme. That's kind of cool. There's no way right now to get the information about what theme is active or what font you are using, I don't think. Actually, I should double check and see. There might actually be. But there's also no way to get the path to the module the 4ed.exe module, which you would actually want to store your 4coder settings file there, or have like a global local thing or something. So I'll have to add those features to the API so that you can write that out better. But that's a nice little tiny kernel of a start of an idea of how you might go about having a settings file. So that's kind of cool, I think. I forget who it was who's asking for that, but there's something kind of like that. So now I can do boom, and there you go. And then if I want to change that, I just go to 4coder settings and go, you know, I want handmade hero instead, right? And then the next time I run, now it's using the handmade hero theme. Cool. Connor rents. Well, there you go. How close is that to matching, Connor? The reason I asked is how close is that to matching what you would want it to do? Fucon, I do not have a core tester group. I did for a little while we were first getting Linux off the ground because it was so unstable. But what I should do, I think, is have like a group of like 5 people that tests for a day before I send it out. Usually I'm the only tester. I spend about 24 hours using a build before I release it. Why do you ask? I mean, I know this current one has got some nasty little things here and there that I gotta clean out. So I'm patching that. But, I'm curious if you're asking because of that or if you're just curious. Yeah, well that's good, Fucon. I'm going to uh, start doing some weird stuff with the API, so I'll need people testing the API more shortly anyway. But yeah, having more and more people doing stuff with the API is great, and you were one of the people who pushed it harder than most. So hopefully this gives everyone some new ideas. You can open your own files and do things with them. Um, Independent of 4coder's buffers, if you're willing to use standard file opening stuff, or if you're willing to talk directly to the operating system in your custom code, you could do it that way too. Um, you can also think about how you would do more stuff like completing words. Like I said, I think there's one thing that makes this very tricky to do, which is just that the coroutine stuff is not super great. But you could write your own hash table. Is there a scratch buffer yet? What do you mean by a scratch buffer? Fucon. What do you have in mind when you say scratch buffer? Ah, interesting. So a buffer that's detached from real files. Hmm. Yeah, you can open these buffers here, but they're read-only. So like a writable detached buffer is kind of an interesting idea that I do not have, but I think you've probably asked for it before and I just forget. So I'll think about doing that. So in the future. Now, while we're here doing customization stuff, there is one bug in default bindings that I'd love to fix. And that is whenever you're doing like something like this, and you custom, and then you type in nonsense that doesn't match, and you backspace it, it starts matching even though it doesn't match, right? It starts changing the highlight when you backspace. So I believe that is in, probably in include actually. 1 minute, default, bindings, include. Yeah, looks like anytime I switch to a different buffer, it just like goes through that GUI, and then when it's done with the GUI, it starts from 0 again or something. Or maybe it's scrolling to this position. I don't know. I don't know what it's doing. Maybe it's scrolling to this position because of where the cursor is. I'm wondering how hard it would be to make an OpenGL context that renders to the region inside of a panel of 4coder. Because if you could just say, here's your OpenGL context, go, you could basically like develop a game and have your game window be a 4coder panel. Because then you could do Milton in a panel just by easily saying, hey Milton, write a platform layer, basically treating 4coder like a platform layer, right? So you would just write your platform layer as a 4coder platform, and then your dev environment kind of could go anywhere, and your game could run inside your IDE. I kind of really like that. I wonder if that's possible at all. Huh. Hmm. I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of a crazy idea. I don't know how impossible it would be. I mean, there's two different ways you could think about it. You could think about it as just making a sort of portable, development target. So it's like when you're developing your game, you target this platform because it can run on any operating system. And then when you're ready to actually ship, you just take your target platforms and write platform layers for them. But it would be like set up so you can easily get your dev platform layer up and running as a 4coder platform layer, and then it would run as a 4coder panel. But I don't know, in that case, it seems like then 4coder has to be like, oh, here are all your synchronization primitives that you need for your game or your program or whatever, and exposing each one of those through a layer is possible, but that's like, that's not I don't know, I don't know, not what I would like to spend a lot of time working on at the moment, but it still seems like a really awesome idea. Fucon asks, has the panel layout stuff advanced in any way? Not really. I mean, it still just splits horizontally and vertically. I haven't done the explicit panel layouts that I want to do yet. Um, and Cuber Caleb, the way it would work would be two separate programs. You would run two executables, kind of like the way a debugger does, and it would just be a matter of your render target is provided to you by 4coder, right? Like, you somehow you'd say, here's your OpenGL context, do whatever you want with it, and then 4coder would somehow take the output of that context and like frame buffer it or something and put it in a panel of 4coder. It's something I'll play with a long time from now. I'm not really gonna go after that now, but it's a pretty interesting thought, right? That your program runs inside your IDE. And that you've got the ability to like pass messages back and forth while you're doing your debugging, sort of. Because one other idea I had is even if you didn't integrate the game window into a 4coder panel, I'd still kind of like the idea of passing messages from your game to your editor and back and forth while you're deving, so you can get like better debug and better like like Casey has to check to see if the file is updated. Well, it'd be cool if you could just be like, hey, anytime I build, I want to send a message to my game, and that message gets interpreted as, oh, hot load your code now. Um, Keeper Caleb, I'm not saying that the editor is your platform layer. I'm saying the editor is a platform target, and you write your platform layer for 4coder. Right, like you write a platform layer for 4coder the same way you would write a platform layer for Windows or something. But anyway, I'll put that off for now because it's a crazy idea that's not fully fleshed. It's brand new, so it needs time to think, time to work stuff out. Yeah, insofar as it knows what I'm talking about, you could have a pipe that goes back and forth so that your game and editor can like talk to each other while they're running. Um, so you can do like I don't know, just all kinds of neat stuff might be possible. Then like you could. Um, Fucon, could you also add column number to the line number at the top? Oh, you mean on the top of the window you want to see what column you're on? Yeah, we can do that. There you go. Yes, so, Gilbert Caleb, that is correct that it would just be a layer on top of the actual operating system, but I'm not saying you would use that to ship your game or anything like that, you know. But you could even just take a step simpler and just say that there's a pipe that you use to send info back and forth. So it's not actually a platform layer. You just talk straight to your operating system still, but then you've got commands that you pass back and forth. Well, I think that that is it for today. Well, no, hold on. I do want to fix that bug I was going to work on a moment ago. Although it would be... I have to think about that. Um... Um, yeah, Counter-Int, it's a known bug. The new 403, there's a bug where any UI that has a file list, if there's no more, like, if it doesn't match anything in the list, it doesn't work, because it's matching things in the list, and if there's no items to match, it doesn't match anything. But obviously, new file doesn't care about matching things, so it needs a separate behavior where it ignores the thing it matches. Like, it doesn't need arrow navigation, but it's set up to have it anyway. So I have to fix that because I didn't test that. I didn't happen to make a new file in the 24 hours while I was testing it. Anyways, what I want to do is I want to fix the thing where you're doing like iSearch. Must be in the include file, iSearch, and yeah. So you're in here, and what happens when you get a backspace? Got the if backwards. Include. There we go. Alright. So yeah, that's it, everybody. That's the whole stream for today. Gonna sign off now, but thanks for joining. I'll see you guys over at Handmade Hero. Bye bye.